The rain poured heavily on the streets that evening. A man named David Carter walked into a luxurious 5-star hotel, his clothes damp and wrinkled from travel. He had just returned from a long business trip overseas and looked far from polished, old jacket, messy hair, and a tired face. To the hotel staff behind the shiny marble desk, he looked like a man who couldn't possibly afford a room there. David politely asked, "I'd like a room for the night, please." The receptionist, a young man with a forced smile, glanced at him and then at his shoes, dusty and worn from travel. "Sir, this is an exclusive property. We're fully booked," he said, without even checking the system. David insisted calmly, "I just need one night. Please check." But the receptionist scoffed and whispered to his colleague, loud enough for David to hear, "People like him shouldn't even walk into this place." The colleague giggled. Other guests waiting nearby glanced at David with judgment in their eyes. David, however, stayed calm. He had been in this situation before, underestimated because of his appearance. Finally, the receptionist said bluntly, "I'm sorry, sir. We don't have rooms available for you. Maybe try a budget motel down the street." David nodded silently, thanked him, and walked away. The next morning, the hotel's general manager rushed into the lobby. He looked flustered, carrying documents in his hands. "Everyone, please prepare. The owner of the Carter Hotels is coming today for an unannounced visit." The staff straightened their uniforms nervously. Guests whispered in excitement. Who was this mysterious owner? Moments later, a black car pulled up at the entrance. The doorman hurried to open it. Out stepped the same man from last night, David Carter. The receptionist froze. His face turned pale. He remembered turning him away, mocking him, humiliating him. David walked in with quiet authority. His presence filled the room. The general manager approached, bowing slightly, "Mr. Carter, welcome back, sir. We weren't expecting you so soon." David's eyes shifted to the receptionist. "Interesting," he said, his voice steady. "Last night, I asked for a room in my own hotel. But your staff decided I wasn't good enough." The entire lobby fell silent. The receptionist's hands trembled. He stuttered, "Yes, sir. I didn't know." David raised his hand, stopping him. "That's the problem. You judged without knowing. This hotel was built on the principle of hospitality, respect for every guest, no matter how they look. If my staff can't honor that, then we have failed." David turned to the general manager. "This hotel isn't just marble floors and chandeliers. It's supposed to be a home for anyone who walks in, tired, rich, poor, or lost. If you can't treat a man with dignity, you don't deserve to represent Carter Hotels." The general manager nodded shamefully. The receptionist was dismissed on the spot, learning a harsh lesson about judgment and arrogance. Then David turned to the guests in the lobby. "Let this be a reminder, kindness costs nothing, but its value is priceless." The crowd broke into applause. Guests were touched by the humility of a man who, despite owning an entire chain of luxury hotels, still carried himself with grace. That night, David stayed in the very hotel he owned. But instead of occupying the lavish presidential suite, he chose a modest room. To him, comfort wasn't in chandeliers or gold-plated service, it was in respect, dignity, and the reminder that true wealth is humility. Never judge someone by their appearance. The person you look down on today may be the one who owns everything tomorrow.